Explained by the Billy Meier contacts, mysteries, myths, legends, conspiracy theories, historical inaccuracies, and more. Compiled by David Chance, revised October 18, 2023.
Dowsing or ley lines. Dowsing ley line. Contact Report 250.
Whereby the so-called supernatural, of course, does not exist in any way, because everything and everything is always naturally explainable and also naturally given. The supernatural exists only in the ignorance and the incomprehension of man, because he has no knowledge about all those things which he cannot understand and cannot explain himself. Truthfully, everything so-called supernatural is absolutely natural, and thus also classified according to the corresponding laws of spirit or matter, which are able to give an explanation for everything and everyone, whereby something supernatural becomes a fact of non-existence. Everything that can be grasped and perceived, everything that can be seen and heard, and everything that can be felt, recognized, experienced, etc., is always real. Real and natural in every case, regardless of whether it takes place on a spiritual or material level or on a medium level between spirit and matter, which is so often called the level of the supernatural, or the supernatural by parapsychologists and esoterics who do not understand it.
A true word.
Contact Report 367.
Although Svath, your father, already explained to me what it is about the earth rays and water veins, that this is all nonsense. But I would like to have an official explanation in a contact conversation. In this context is also the pendulum, that is to say the radiesthesia, which is operated by the so-called radiesthesi, with the sidereal pendulum and the dowsing rod. These people are supposed to be medially gifted and, by striking the pendulum or the divining rod, find underground deposits of water veins, earth rays and ore deposits, as well as other hidden information of all kinds, in addition to the alleged perception of fluid vibrations of people, animals, plants, and objects. The radiesthesiologists also claim that they could find missing people, animals, and objects, etc. through radiesthesia. But this, so Svath taught me, is absolute nonsense, which he could prove to me by the machinations of a larger number of radiesthesiologists, whom I was allowed to observe and accompany in their work with radiesthesia. In addition, Svath proved to me with very highly developed measuring instruments and apparatus that the so-called earth rays do not exist, and that they are therefore only an illusion. Also, with regard to underground water veins, he taught me that there are no such veins, and that they neither radiate to the Earth's surface, nor can they negatively influence people, animals, and plants. Underground water veins of this form do not exist, but only underground rivers and large quantities of water, which, however, occupy large areas of the Earth's interior, whereby the water is stored in certain absorbent rocks and other layers of the Earth. And such water-storing rock and earth layers are so frequent that practically everywhere water can be found in the Earth's interior, whereby the question arises in each case only how deep must be drilled in order to come across such water-bearing layers, which can then perhaps be used for wells. The only thing that really exists is the Earth's magnetism, which can manifest itself particularly strongly in certain places, but which in no way has a harmful influence on people, animals, and plants, but can only produce some particularly strong magnetic effects. This is in contrast to electromagnetic oscillations, which are generated by electrotechnical plants, apparatuses, devices, lines, transformers, as well as transmitting antennas, etc., and are harmful to health with regard to the physical organism of humans, animals, and plants, but also to the psyche and even to the consciousness of humans. But all this has nothing to do with the so-called places of power, as they are thought up by people who believe that great mental powers or other vibrations occur and work in a parapsychological or esoteric framework, which is of course pure nonsense. All this is based solely on a profound imagination and on delusions that are the preserve of all those who believe this nonsense. I know from my own experience that the people who cling to the nonsense of this belief are as completely unteachable as those who have a strong religious, sectarian, political, scientific, or philosophical belief. For them, truth and reality are something foreign or imaginary, which is why they banish themselves to the realm of illusion and negate everything that has to do with truth and reality. In fact, I know what I am talking about because I have had enough experience around the world, also with regard to the deceptions of alleged ghostly apparitions, ghost photos, spirit operations, spirit healing, alleged telekinesis, telepathy and levitation, clairvoyance, etc.
Contact Report 450.
Regarding dowsing. As I know, the rod does not react to alleged water sources and other things that are sought, but it is the subtle sensuality of the person who dowses. It is the fine material sensuality, if it really works, that activates the dowser's nerves, causing imperceptible movements in the rod-carrying hand, and thus making the rod swing. This is the real reason why people with a fine matter sensuality can actually find sources of water and lost things, etc., through rods and pendulums. But people who have such subtle material abilities are seldom found, for the majority of dowsers' commuters are either swindlers, deluders, or charlatans, whose actions they consciously or unconsciously deceive by their wishful thinking. The whole thing is, in any case, generally erroneously called something supernatural, which does not really exist, because for man everything and anything is sensually graspable. And what cannot be grasped in a coarse material sense is perceived in a subtle material sense, as I have described in the spiritual teachings in Special Letter XWF 7 and in Special Bulletin number 38 with the title Supersensory or Subtle Material or Fluidic Forces. Through the subtle material sensuality, not only thoughts and feelings, etc., can be perceived by people, animals, and many other creatures, but also fluid vibrations of objects, etc., as well as all kinds of electromagnetic vibrations of elements and substances, including water, etc.